We are creative entrepreneurs, so if there's one thing that we're good at, it's being creative, right? But have you ever gotten stuck on generating fresh ideas all the time? And truth be told, I have to work really, really hard at being creative. And here's how. Ready? Welcome to episode 78 here on the Ashlyn Writes channel. My name is Ashlyn. I'm a conversion copywriter for creatives like you, and today I'm sharing 7 hacks to help you become more creative. Because burnout happens. Creative ruts are totally a thing. Give this video a like below if you've ever had that moment where you feel like you are a well run dry. There's nothing left in you to bubble up and serve anybody. Or have you felt like the pendulum swung the opposite way on that and you have so many creative ideas that you don't know which one to choose to work on, therefore you still feel paralyzed? Give me a like if you felt like either of those before, because truly, learning how to be creative and be creative on demand is part of our jobs. No matter if you're a photographer, an artist, a floral designer, a wedding planner, a graphic designer, or if you're a teacher or you work in flight operations like my husband does, you were designed to be creative. Plain and simple, it's in your DNA as a human. If you're watching this and you understand me, you were made to be creative. So how do we live in that tension of being the kind of people that always need new and fresh ideas for our livelihood? Not just that, but how do we endure well in that space? I ask myself these questions all the time, so today's video is a little bit of behind the scenes of what I do when I get in a creative lull or rut. I built a $500,000 copywriting business in the creative world. My students and my clients are makers, dreamers, artists, creatives. So I constantly have to work hard at pushing my brain's creativity, not just for my own business, but for their business. It's not easy. Honestly, it's a whole lot easier to just copy someone else or riff off an idea that you see that's already out there. Now, I know you've never seen that in the creative or the online industry, right? But here's the thing. Even if you're working really hard to focus on your craft, it's hard to train your eyes to stay in your lane and not look to the right or the left for inspiration. Just this past weekend, I had my team in, and one of my team members, who's a copywriter, told me that she always tries to do competitive research way far in advance of any of the copywriting deliverables that she's doing for our clients because she wants to separate her brain from accidentally slipping up and saying something that she didn't realize that she'd picked up. Now, I'm not saying numbers like $500,000 copywriting business to show off or brag, and I hope you know me well enough if you've watched my channel for any length of time to know that. I'm saying that because I have to work really dang hard at being creative. Even growing up, I was attracted to things like ballet and calligraphy, things that had technique and structure, and I liked being creative in those bounds. I wasn't necessarily one for pushing the envelope or abstract art and that kind of stuff. Instead, I've learned how giving myself little boxes and rules and then jumping inside those and figuring out how to be creative within that has really fueled my business. These are my 7 go-to ways to get unstuck. Let's go. Hack number 1, draw from the most unlikely source you can think of. Think of an industry that is a 180-degree polar opposite of what you do and look there for inspiration. This is called integrated thinking, and what you're doing here is looking for new and fresh ways that you can combine 2 old things to come up with something completely new. You've heard there's nothing new under the sun, but what can we do as creatives to continue to add to the greater body of work that's out there? Practically, what does this look like? Well, recently I was working on an email marketing sales page for a client, and for inspiration, I looked at a mattress company's website copy, and I also looked at an eyeglass company and how they positioned things. One more practical tip for you here. I had a boss tell me one time to go to that kiosk before you jump on a plane and pick up a couple of magazines that you would not normally read. Looking at magazines that don't have anything to do with what you do is a great way to get started thinking like this. Pro tip though here, you want to resist the idea that because this has never been done before, it's a bad idea. You want to turn off that internal editor when you're in the brainstorm phase and let yourself kind of be in Peter Pan mode for a while. Captain Hook can come in later and slash out the bad ideas. You're just thinking outside of the box in this phase. Hack 2, play hooky from your daily routine for a day. Okay, if you've been around here for a while, you know my love language is efficiency and productivity. And while it's so good to have rules like Steve Jobs wearing his black turtleneck every day, it's also good to shake things up a little bit. So pause and think for a moment. Have you gotten outside your routine lately, or are you a little bit like a hamster on a hamster wheel? Give yourself room to play, space to think, and permission to just mess up. Another practical way to do this is to work from somewhere that's not your norm. Maybe it's a coffee shop, a co-working space, or maybe you just need to rent an Airbnb or a hotel room for a couple of days. Hack number 3, limit the number of voices coming in. You knew I was going to say this, right? I am a big fan of unfollowing, unsubscribing, and limiting. I realized when I did wedding stationery that the worst place I could get inspiration from was Pinterest because I would just end up regurgitating something else I'd already seen. Social media tools are not bad, they just have a time and a place. So think for a moment. If all of your content, your copy, your ideas are right now coming from social media, maybe you need a little bit of a timeout because I promise there's some really good inspiration out there that can come not from the internet. 2 books on this topic I cannot recommend enough are 12 Ways Your Phone is Changing You and Digital Minimalism. I'll link them both below. Yes, it's more comfortable to listen to the noise because we are more at ease consuming rather than creating. But I want you to nix the consumption, cut out the noise, and see what happens, okay? Hack number 4, read. Read a book or join a book club that pushes you to read, again, things that you would not normally pick up. Michael Hyatt's Leader Box tool has helped me with this, and I also get great ideas when I read fiction. Psychology Today cites that those who read more fiction are usually better at reading emotions than people that do not, and we need to be able to read emotions as those who work in the creative industry. Hack number 5, quit listening to podcasts that your peers are listening to and listen to something completely different. I've gotten to where I don't listen to many business podcasts at all unless I am prepping to go on someone's show, and then I will load up on past episodes. But I actually love listening to political and theological podcasts because I get some great ideas on those that I can pull into my own content, products, and services, and I know that those are going to be fresh ideas and ways to apply things. Related to this, watch something that you normally wouldn't. Maybe it is an old film or documentary, and challenge yourself and see if you can come up with one idea to apply to your business after you finish watching it. Hack number 6, rest by moving. Take a walk, go for a run, or hop in that workout class. C.S. Lewis, Charles Darwin, and Tolkien were all big-time walkers. If I'm starting to feel like I got nothing else in me, I'll go for a short, device-free walk and see what happens. And hack number 7, set up systems. Workflows, parameters, email templates, frameworks. This goes back to the concept I've talked about a lot, that if you can give yourself boundaries to think within, usually you can find a little more white space in there to be creative. Just remember to be smart though and play hooky from your routines and systems when you do get in a rut with them. Now, how do you set up things like batch days or themed work days? Well, I've got a free download just for you if you're trying to figure out how to set up your own daily systems and batch work days. Click the link in the description box below or up here in the cards to grab that download and figure out exactly how to lay out your work schedule so you can be creative within those box days. If you liked this video, let me know below by hitting that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet so you can be first to know when these videos come out each week. See you next time.